G'day everyone, Jason Nunn, Fisherman's Warehouse, Tuckerwell, Marks Point, with an early Friday fishing report. Absolutely sensational weather over the next 3 to 4 days. East nor'east and then some nor'easters definitely into Saturday. We've got a bit of a wind switch happening on Sunday. A south-southwester, sort of 15 to 20, and it will move around to the southeast as it goes on. Some great tides this weekend as well, guys. 7:30 high tide. Saturday morning, 1.93 metres. We get some really big tides because Monday we're headed into the new moon, and in fact on Monday the tide's 208. So some very, very big tides. Low tide Saturday just after 2 p.m. So look, the weather is going to play its part. Those nor'easters are going to play a factor because we've got a couple of big tournaments happening this weekend, particularly the Port Stephens shootout. Obviously, a lot of people will be heading up there chasing those small inshore black marlin, which have been so prolific over the last 4 to 5 weeks. And no doubt a few of us will be heading out wide in some pretty bumpy conditions, I would reckon, because nor'east is going to be in and around about that maybe 20, 25 Saturday afternoon. So we're just going to have to get out there and have a little bit of a look. Signs are good. The water temperature is still hovering out on the shelf at around about 26 degrees. On the inshore, somewhere between 23 to 24. But it just continues this unbelievable season on pelagic fish. Marlin right the way through. I know a couple of the guys, I was talking to some of the boys at the store only an hour ago. A few of our local guys are out off Swansea here this morning, having a bit of fun on some of those inshore blacks. But there's been some tremendous fishing happening at Port Stephens. But again, I reckon that's going to last probably another 3 to 4 weeks as this season just continues around. A lot of bonito around, guys. There's a lot of bonito being caught off our ocean rock platforms. There was a big school of fish down off Catherine L. Bay Beach today. Sean Griffiths gave me a report very, very early in the piece on that. Moon Island, a lot of activity there. Bonito, few tailor, a lot of kings, and again, we've got that real variant in size, but just a lot of bait schools in general. Just before we actually come and did our got on, Alex spotted some fish busting up behind me here at Marks Point Dropover. I would think that's part and parcel of these schools of kingfish that we're now finding within the lake. There are a few tailor around, and in particular that southern end, but early mornings and late afternoons for some really nice fish, you know, 45s or even some 55s mixed in with them. If you're looking for some of these kings in the estuary, and there has been a little bit of an increase in squid, guys, particularly the channel I think is probably the pick at this stage. Down rigging for some of these better kings, particularly down towards Pulba or over towards Cole Point, will work out absolutely perfect. Our beaches, look, there's still plenty of fish around, but you've just got to pick the tides. And probably the biggest advantage this weekend, we're going to have a delivery of tube worms today. Now, it's not a huge delivery, but no doubt I made mention to it last week. We're going to get a small delivery today, being Thursday, so those that want tube worms for the beach this weekend or the estuary will probably need to be quick or give us a call so we can give you a heads up on when they actually turn up. Whiting, brim and dart along our beaches, still a few tailor, but we've been getting some really good reports of mulloway, and some really nice mulloway up to about 1 metre in length off our beach, particularly the Belmont Blacksmiths Beach. No doubt Stockton is one of those beaches that gets fished pretty hard, but it continually fishes very, very well. Our offshore fishing outside of the pelagic activity, guys, is a little bit doughy. A few flathead, of course, on the drift, a few reds, a couple of trag and jew. But again, I think it's just because this water temperature is so warm and constant that it's more the pelagic scene which is going to really sort of come home. The estuary, of course, now we're moving well into it, sort of halfway through February already, and it's, you know, Easter's just around the corner, not you want me to tell you that. But a lot of flathead still in the system. But as we move into March, those guys will start to move down the channel and spill out onto our beaches. There's been some beautiful brim around. And I think our oily-based baits, obviously tube worms are going to work very well, but the oily-based baits, as we start to head into autumn, your mullet strips and certainly some of those hawksbill prawns, even cubes of pilchards will work very, very well for some of these big brim. And we're already starting to see some of these travelling fish, the coastal brim, move into the system as well. I know Johnny Frith in his semi-retirement mode at the moment, he's been catching some excellent brim and moving and catching quite a few reds. And I watched a post on Facebook yesterday. One of the guys who fished out in the lake, they got half a dozen nice reds. So some really nice squai in the lake, and I'd say an underrated target species in our lake at the present. A few mulloway being caught, and of course quite a few whiting. And some of these whiting now is a great opportunity because the temperature is now so hot and we're so late in the season to start using some of those surface lures. Obviously sugar pens and splash prawns, EB panics from Jackson, again another great surface lure, and they're the things that I'd be using around the shallow waters, guys. Anyway, we're almost on our way. Tomorrow I'll be up pretty early and heading up to Port Stephens to try to compete in the shootout. Looking forward to it. I know Steven Spielberg doing the recording. Alex, he's coming up with us for a bit of a run. We'll talk to you about it next Friday. Plenty of fishing to be done, guys. Take advantage of the weather. See you then.